Hi and welcome to another ghost tasting video again. Since I work in Austria as a sommelier, I get this question a lot, actually, what is the difference between Grüner Veltliner and Roter Veltliner. So I thought I'm making a video about it because I also got two beautiful samples, two bottles from the Josef Fritz Winery from Wagram, from Johannes, the youngest generation. You can click on this side on the podcast, the 32nd wineghosts podcast I did with this young, really motivated winemaker. And we opened these wines 2 days ago, and actually my girlfriend got goosebumps. It's a beautiful wine, so I thought, why not take the chance and try to explain something about these varieties. And because since they are both indigenous or autochthonous grape varieties in Austria, Grüner Veltliner is really well known. And if you have and actually the most widely planted white grape variety in Austria. And if you have a little German knowledge, grün means green and red or rot means red. And I also had some guests who actually wanted to order a Roter Veltliner and actually expected a red wine. So just please get on with it. And Roter Veltliner is actually referring to the reddened berries during the late ripening period, because Roter Veltliner is really a late ripening period. But let's start also maybe with the wine. So Roter Veltliner Ried Mortal from the Josef Fritz Winery. As you can see, it's a white wine, so I didn't deceive you. And Mortal is actually a Premier Cru in Austria. That's I think that's Johannes's favorite wine. And I mentioned that this is an autochthonous or indigenous grape variety because it has been planted in Austria for a couple of centuries now, but actually its homeland is not yet clear. Some say it's in Lake Como in northern Italy somewhere, but it's not really clear. But it's almost gut instinct actually because of Grüner Veltliner. But there are still like 200 hectares left in Austria, and actually it's almost exclusively growing in Austria. I really like this variety, and it doesn't really like fertile soil or really moist soil. So really like gravel or kind of loess is maybe sometimes too fertile for it. And it's a really late ripening variety and can keep acidity really well, so it's always going to be a really refreshing wine that can have really ripe flavors. And also Grüner Veltliner and Roter Veltliner can be made in very fresh and zesty, light electric kind of style, and also very broad kind of mouthfeel. And so it tends to have a higher acidity but still a rich palate. And it really likes like south exposure, really hot places, so it needs hot sites to ripen, and also it's very susceptible to botrytis and also other funguses. So let's concentrate on the wine. Actually, both wines are made in the same manner, in big barrels, spontaneous fermentation, so very kind of minimalistic winemaking, I would say. And also already the nose is kind of more acrid, citrus, almost limey, kind of acidic kind of smell. Very enticing actually, you want to bite in it. Kind of cooler, climatic, I would say, in the nose. Wow, but on the palate it's, wow. It really, the acidity starts really high and then squeezes your mouth. It's getting higher, it's built up on the body, so actually it's very well integrated in the body, but it's getting higher. It starts really high and it starts going up. Very motivated wine, I would say, and it has this like kind of pomegranate like acidity or freshness, but this maracuja like richness, and also kind of yellow appley, I would say, but not really fruit dominant, so it has a lot of layers, I would say, and really a wide range of citric fruits also, and also a little bit of maybe yeastiness, kind of popcorn, kind of very interesting aromas, I'd say. And also this kind of light phenolic, that kind of nuttiness, almost cashew. This kind of aroma, I really like this wine, and it's builds very up the acidity, but very well integrated. And very long holding wine, extremely dense, but still because of the acidity, it's really fresh. It has some palpable residual sugar, so I would say like, I don't know, 4 or 5 grams, maybe, or maybe lower, but the acidity is also very beautiful and proud. So let's see maybe the Grüner Veltliner, maybe side by side. I actually only chose these different classes just maybe to demonstrate that this is a more linear wine. I would say the Roter Veltliner, and the Grüner Veltliner is kind of more, has a more dancing kind of acidity, more broader kind of mouthfeel. Actually, I would rather recommend the Roter Veltliner to more saltier dishes because of the higher acidity, or maybe seafood. It would go well, maybe with also some acidic sauces, but it's really a more linear kind of wine now. Yeah, so let's see the Grüner Veltliner. As a general rule, I would say the Roter Veltliner has 1 gram higher acidity than Grüner Veltliner. In my experience, this Grüner Veltliner still holds really beautiful acidity, so that's Ried Schlossberg Premier Cru. The same kind of winemaking goes, so both of them are list-based soil. I just wanted to test the mouthfeel. Yeah, because the acidity on this one, so on the Grüner Veltliner, it starts significantly lower. And then it builds up, it starts dancing now. It's like a roller coaster ride, you know? So it doesn't squeeze your mouth, but just kind of rolling, you know, like rolling hills kind of. So, in general, Grüner Veltliner, I also made another videos about Grüner Veltliner, so you can check it out here. It's more vegetal and more herby, kind of greenish notes, but not really Sauvignon Blanc like greeniness, or not like kind of minty, freshly cut grass and things like this, but more like a green pea, kind of snappy. And this one has it actually, and usually have this white peppery sensation about Grüner Veltliner. That's because of the pyrazine molecule, and also a little bit of like a phenolic grip, a bite on your tongue. It's very pleasant. It keeps you alive, and that's a very good food wine. And wow, this wine is also very rich. It's more yellow, I would say, more exotic, more tropical, a bit lower acidity. I don't feel as much residual sugar, so maybe I would say, yeah, it's a 1 gram lower acidity. It's not so palpable. It's not so salty. It's more like an ananas, kind of mango, what comes to my mind. More luscious, more fawny, more round, more democratic, I would say. And also in the kitchen. So this wine I would also recommend maybe with asparagus, which is a typical pairing in Austria, but also with a wide variety of vegetarian dishes, which is kind of hard to pair, but also with maybe a richer poultry kind of dish, or a béarnaise kind of go really well. This pepperiness is more in the nose, I would say. In the palate, it doesn't grab your palate really. It doesn't bind your tongue. And Grüner Veltliner likes a more fertile soil in general. And I just gotta mark thoughts and give a conclusion. So, just a small conclusion. I already mentioned that Roter Veltliner has only like 200 hectares in the world, or in Austria, and Roter Veltliner is the most widely parented white grape variety. And maybe just a hint why. Johannes already said that Roter Veltliner is really a diva, really a pain in the ass to work with in the vineyard, because it needs rigorous canopy management, yield limitation. So it needs a lot of work in the vineyard, but I think it's worth it. it's really worth trying good Roter Veltliner, and try for yourself because it has high acidity, it has richness, it has nuttiness, it has complexity, more stone fruity I would say, and not so herbal but more nutty. I think it has really a place next to Riesling amongst the greatest white grape varieties in the world, or at least this part of the world. And Grüner Veltliner is, I think it's a more everybody's darling, I would say. It has a more dancing acidity, it's more food friendly, and this white pepperiness it's really distinctive aroma, I would say, if you get it. And I think really the difference lies in the acidity, or in the acidic structure, or really the texture. And I already drank some Grüner Veltliner and Roter Veltliner in my life, and that's very typical that Roter Veltliner starts high and builds up even higher, and Grüner Veltliner has this kind of dancing kind of acidity. It's more playful, I would say, but both are very rich, very palpable wine, very food friendly wines, and yeah, Roter Veltliner has generally higher alcohol maybe, but both of them are beautiful wines, and try for yourself, and I can only recommend the Josef Fritz Winery. So thanks for joining, and Prost.